What's up, guys? It's me, the Pharaoh MGTOW, coming to bring you, well, whatever it is I know or maybe you can gain from what I have to say. So, there is one thing that I feel has always been sort of like an edge for my understanding of MGTOW. And I'm sure some of you have had the same edge. Sort of like a step ahead, with understanding the nature of women. And by that I mean you've had a shitload of sisters. I have four exactly, three older, one younger. And I used to always study them before I was a MGTOW. I think I've been a MGTOW for maybe close to a year now, but I've been more or less just watching and studying the philosophy and the ideal of a MGTOW. So, anyway, when I did find out about MGTOW and I learned as you say, I learned the nature of women. I started to watch my sisters, study them a little bit, and I'd say my knowledge accumulated around close to 3 months now, going on 3 months, and I I would always I guess you could sort of say I used my sisters as lab rats to help me have a better understanding of MGTOW. And MGTOW, it has opened my eyes, a big deal, and it took me a long time to overcome the red pill rage that most of us has endured. Maybe not most, but all, really. And one thing I learned that helped me understand before I was a MGTOW was my sisters, and well, two of them, or actually three of four, I don't really care too much for. Well, I do, but then the fourth oldest one I like because I like her status because she respects her husband. She's actually, well, I wouldn't say she's a unicorn of the NAWAL thing, but she's still, I'm sure she's bearable, to an extent. But who's to say, I hardly see her, but when I do see her, I still study her. I'm like a quiet physician, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's that was my key element. That was like my edge in the understanding of MGTOW. Is I saw how my sisters would treat their husbands. Three-fourths of them, the other three would treat their husbands. They would treat them like they didn't know shit. They were always one up above them, and they always treated them like workhorses. They only cared for them whenever their husbands were sick, because then they'd know like, oh shit, my husband's sick. My utility, my life force is dying. I need him. I need him for all the things that I need in the future. It's like you can sort of see it, And then not only that, one of the biggest examples of my MGTOW understanding was my mom, of course. See, I had a stepfather that I was working for. I worked at a business for him for a while, working on big rig trailers, beyond that stuff. But she would always pressure him to work, and then she would always, whenever he would get paid from his job, she would take a check, and he would only get probably 10% of that little check, and that would go just to his car. And keep in mind, I really respected this guy. He was a good guy, A1, But I pitied him, and then I also I got a little tiny pinch of frustration because I would think like, why do you let this happen to you? Now keep in mind, this was before I was MGTOW, and I used to talk to him, because my dad wasn't around at the time, And I figured might as well get to know the guy, you know. So I did. And he was a good. What I found out about him in his past is, because he was a retired U.S. Army, and I respect him for that too. The service was good for us to live free. And he was a very lively man. He traveled the world, saw everything. He saw a good chunk of Europe. And he lived until he met my mother, and he raised my siblings. And my mom literally neutered this guy. And here's the thing too that I've learned, that the nature of women is true, because my mother, you see, what she married my dad, who was a wild card. My real dad was a crazy, rebellious kind of guy, and so she had kids with him, and then when she started to get hit in the age of 40, or a little over 40, she went for the next guy, who was my stepfather, who was a kind guy. He's a really kind guy. He's very passive, aka what you guys call a simp or beta, whatever. Still, it falls in the same category of the two. It's kind of hard to breathe this thing on, but if things pop off, I'm ready. But anyway, that's one thing that helped me understand MGTOW more as my sisters. But you know, it's funny too, because ever since I became a MGTOW, I can't be around women too long because I start getting annoyed by them. I realized too that I wasn't able to have a full, meaningful, and deep conversation with women. Because if there ever is a deep conversation with the woman, it's deep because it's about her problems and her issues you guys are talking about instead of anything else. I've learned that because that's the women that I did talk to who were friends. I used them as guinea pigs as well, just to help me understand what all of the MGTOWs were talking about, and it's true. I want to give a little shout out though. There was one MGTOW there was the MGTOW that opened my eyes to all of this was Truth Over Everything, and it's kind of a shame that he's gone though. Since he left, it feels like I lost a good friend. But wherever you are, man, I hope you come back. We could really use you. We could use your knowledge again. But if you have something going on, much respect. I completely respect whatever it is you're doing, as long as it's in the right path, and I'm sure it is for someone like you. And so there's one thing also that's been kind of troubling me as a MGTOW. If you guys have noticed this as well, please let me know. I would love to read it, just to get more insight about this, because I'm probably not the only one, but I would like to know. I have I have a few friends, and when I hang out with them, they seem they're always, how do I say it? They're very thirsty for women, but I can't really blame them. We live in a society where everything is over sexualized, and women dress. It's summertime right now, and they hardly even dress. They hardly wear anything. They wear these skimpy clothes where if they were any shorter, you would see the goods. It's like, come on. And they call us perverts for looking, and I'm thinking no, you're the freaking pervert. You're the one showing your junk to everybody, or practically showing your junk. And I mean, if I were to start wearing a freaking banana hammock going around the subway, people would be like, oh, look at that freaking guy. He's weird. Don't touch him. He's probably infected with something creepy. Or he's a weird naked fetish zombie boy or whatever, but but anyway, yeah, that I sometimes I digress. I can't help it. it's fun to to root out some certain things in the topic, but it's neither here or there. But whew, I'm sorry, I gotta take a deep breath listening. This thing is killer. Whew. But yeah, that's really all I can say for now about it. But yeah, it's just that. Oh, my friends, right? My friends, it's hard. Have you ever noticed where you hang out with friends and they act so much like simps? Because whenever there's a few girls that come in and like they start talking, we're like when I'm just with my boys, we're talking, we're chatting about something it's very impacting and meaningful. And we're having a good laugh, so we're just joking around like guys would do when they have a couple drinks and kick back. There's nothing wrong with that. But then when a girl comes in, she jumps in. It's like I'm talking to an adult, right? And when a woman comes in, it's almost as if like there is a child that runs in between me and my friends and screams out for attention, like "Look at me, look at me, look at me over here! I'm right here!" And it's like, and then of course, they're gonna abide to those actions. They're gonna get distracted, and then they lose their focus of the conversation we were having. And then it's like, they know what they're doing when they do that to men when they jump in their conversations like that. Because I noticed too, whenever we talk to women, most of their topics and meanings, it's always rooted into their emotions of the discussion, and there's really no. It doesn't feel like there's actually some substance. It's a little aggravating sometimes. And I noticed that too with even my sisters when I try talking to them, they get bored by me very quickly. I used to get mad before I was a MGTOW. This is before I was a MGTOW now. Whenever I try to talk to my sisters, because I didn't know because back before I was a MGTOW, I didn't know that women are like big children. So here we go. So that way you can understand what I'm about to get at right now. So whenever I would talk to my older sisters about something, then I thought like, maybe this could be insightful for them too. And then they would just be like this. They'd be like, huh? Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah. It's like you had to be. I was thinking like, man, what do I have to be a magician just to get your attention? Like, come on. Like, I'm your. Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm like, just like, come on, dude. I'm your brother. Like, come on, give me some time here. I'm trying to talk to you. And see, because I didn't understand the nature of women. They only want to be entertained wherever they go. It could be with family, anything. They don't want to think rationally. They just want entertainment. So, this is my first video. I'm still new to this whole thing. I mean, I've been on the sidelines of MGTOW, just kind of, well, not, more like a spectator of the growth of MGTOW, and I figured, now it's time to get on my horse and start riding along the leaders of MGTOW. Well, okay, scratch that. My bad. There's no fucking leaders of MGTOW. Let's get that straight. Let me correct that. It's time for me to get on my horse to ride with my brothers of MGTOW. And I noticed the more that we start talking and opening up as we're doing making videos, the better we have an understanding, the more structured it'll be, the philosophy and ideal of MGTOW. So that's all I got for now, but if I have anything else to say, you will know, because that means I'll have more videos on, pretty much. Alright. I can't say anything catchy or crazy to say to say adios, so I'll just say, I think I'll say,